The March 30th meeting of the Diversity, Racial Equity, and Inclusion Committee will now come to order. Um, as a reminder, I just want to let everyone know that these meetings are recorded. They are captured on record and played again for the residents of the community to review it. So again, please be aware that these are recorded. Moving right through the agenda, I'd like to move to the approval of the March 23rd minutes. I'm assuming that everyone received those minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
I know there were some minor changes, but did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes? Any questions or concerns?
Nope. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of March 23rd as amended.
We get a second to that motion?
I second.
All right.
Susan's not here today. Is someone else taking notes?
You shut my door. Yeah, thanks.
Right, yeah, that's right. You're very right.
Well, the nice thing is it's recorded, so she can take it from the video.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, there's a good thing. Fantastic. Right. Well, moving right along, we do want to welcome our guests today. We have with us Maria Palacio. Maria is relatively new to the Chelmsford Public Library family. She's the new assistant library director. And we've chatted a couple times, and I wanted to give her an opportunity to join us, find out a little bit about us, but also find out some of the things that the library is doing, and then see, what ideas or what opportunities might exist for our groups to, to partner moving forward. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Phil. Hi, everybody. It's good to meet you all and to be able to join in this meeting today. As Phil said, I'm the newest assistant director at the Chelmsford Library. We have two assistant directors, and my piece is outreach and a bunch of other things. So we kind of divide everything as equally as we can at the library. But I'm glad to be here because I want to give you all an update or a report on all the awesome things we're doing. We are open in Chelmsford. Our hours are still a little limited, but we still are open for a very, very good part of the day. We're open all of the nights until 8:30, and we're open Friday and Saturday. One of the coolest things that we are doing, our newest initiative, which was one of the things that I was charged with putting together when I got the job, was to relaunch the pop-up library. I don't know if you've noticed when you drive past the library, the truck that's out there. So we are relaunching the pop-up library. We've worked on getting sites and identifying sites and talking to different people. And we will start on this Friday, April 2nd. Our first stop will actually be the McKay Library, which is still closed to the public, but we will be there. I did forward Phil the link with the to the pop-up library schedule, but that is on our website at the Chelmsford Library's website, so you can easily find the schedule there. We're starting with 12 stops. It'll be, as I said, a mix. We're going to McKay Library. We'll be going to some parks, and we'll be going to a lot of senior centers as well as part of our Chelmsford on the Move grant to partner with senior facilities. So that's something that I'm really, really excited about, and I hope to see you all at any of those stops. Another thing that we were really excited about too, that we've been busy with lately, is we all took, all of the administration and the department heads at the Chelmsford Public Library, we took a class by Library Journal called how to be like an anti-racist library. So we studied many different things. We sat in on sessions with lots of different guest speakers and learned about what we can do in our materials collection, in our delivery of service, and our programming to ensure that we are trying to be an anti-racist library. One of the biggest parts of that class is that we have to do a diversity audit And we're going to focus on our collection, and we have information on what kinds of things to look for in our items, and we're going to sample probably about between 7,500 and maybe 10,000 items. We're going to look at them and see if they're meeting certain benchmarks, certain identifiers that will help people see themselves reflected in the collection. And if we don't have those kinds of materials, we're going to do our best to get them. But I will say, I just moved here from Southwest Florida in December, and while I did feel proud that they had a pretty diverse collection there, I was really blown away by what Chelmsford and the surrounding libraries here offer. So I think they've done a really great job at the Chelmsford Public Library to make sure that people see themselves in the materials that they check out. So that you'll hear more about the diversity audit as we go through it, but it's going to take us a long time, but we're committed to doing it, and we're really excited to be looking at ourselves. Feel free to stop me if I'm talking too fast. I am from New Jersey, and I tend to actually talk really fast. So the other big news that we have, and you probably heard about this, is our One Book Chelmsford. We are reading Cy Montgomery's How to Be a Good Creature. And if you didn't get your copy, you need to rush into the library like tomorrow morning and go and get it. And Cy will be with us on April 21st at 7 p.m. We have links on our website, and I've also provided Phil with links for you all to register for that program. It's going to be amazing. And all of the book groups at the Chelmsford Library are reading that book right now too. And we have a lot of related programming, from everything from like how to raise chickens to how to plant and care for your seedlings. We had like a seedling giveaway, and I think there's another one. So please check out the website and make sure you sign up for whatever you can. With this one book, we're doing a lot of cool things. The other piece is that we have agreed to be a part of a group of 13 other libraries in the area, and it's called Libraries Working Towards Social Justice. And what we're doing is, we're trying to expand like our programming efforts collectively beyond our individual communities so that we could offer more equitable, diverse, and inclusive programming for our society. So in that spirit, we've partnered with them on several programs, and one of the ones that we're highlighting now for April is that we're going to have a talk with Patrice Cullors. She's the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Global Network and the founder of the grassroots LA-based organization Dignity and Power Now. So she'll speak. We've partnered with the Lawrence Public Library to have her speak on April 7th via Zoom. I mean, we can fit a ton of people on it, so please make sure you sign up. So you wouldn't want to miss that. And then we also have, so she's part of our social justice speaker series. We also signed up to participate in another awesome program called Where Do We Go From Here? Why We Need Reparations for Black Americans with Dr. Brandon Crowley. And that's going to be on May 25th. And registration is up for that as well. That's being offered by another library in the area, and we're partnering with them. So really exciting. And then in June, we, as part of our partnership, this I'm really excited about because I love food, is Michael Twitty. He's the African-American culinary historian. I'm really popular, lots of followers on Instagram and everywhere. So Chef Michael Twitty, we will be also partnering with another library on having him on June 10th at 7. And you can look up his recipes now. And we kind of broke the news that Chelmsford, one of the librarians, made this like famous black-eyed pea hummus that he's famous for, and it was delicious. So I highly recommend it. And then also in June, we will have a professor from UMass named Dr. Keith Mitchell, and he's going to talk about Toni Morrison's Beloved. That's on June 17th, and signups are open for that as well. I have more programs, but I can pause here if you have any questions so far. Okay,
I just wanted to let everybody know, I just put the report on the Chelmsford programs that Maria put up in the Teams files. I was trying to create a folder for the meeting documents and I threw it in the
Oh,
great
good.
documents.
Thank you. Yeah, page 3 of that is all the links, so you don't have to. I'm just kind of reading the info, but it's all there, so you can just pick and choose whatever you'd like to do. And then our own programming at Chelmsford, which we're very, very excited about, and Phil knows about this.
Maria.
Oh, sorry, I
Sorry
can't. I don't
to
have the gallery
interrupt.
view, so I can't see.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's 2 questions.
That's okay.
So-
Sharice had her hand up, and I think Lauren.
Oh, sorry.
too.
If somebody would help, because I can't seem to figure this part out.
I
Thank you.
can't see any hands either, so sorry about that.
I just
Okay.
wanted to ask the question, are most of these programs at 7 o'clock? Should we assume they take place at 7 on via Zoom, correct?
Yes, a lot of them that I just talked about are at 7 p.m. Yes. So for example, in fact, I think they all are at 7. So even the ones that we partnered with. So yeah, please,
Thank
they're
you.
at 7. Yeah, thank you. And did someone else have a question on this
Oh,
information?
no, I just wanted to say, that's all wonderful. Congratulations. So far, it was like, I'm blown away already. So just good job.
Thank you. We're so excited. Thank you. And then at our own library, we started, and it was before I came, and the first meeting was in January of the Social Justice Book Discussion Group. And that's going really well. I've attended a couple of them already. And I mean, I feel like if we get a turnout of 13 or 15 people, that's fantastic. And it's people that they know their stuff, they're committed to learning more. And it's a very safe space. We have like some ground rules about, how to accept people's experiences and not to judge when they share. And so it's a very comfortable space. And we are discussing different books every month. This month's book in March was Evicted. And then for next month, for April, we're talking about What the Eyes Don't See, a story of crisis, resistance, and hope in an American city by Mona Hanna Atisha. So that's Tuesday, April 20th at 7 p.m. And registration is open for that book discussion. It's great. We have 2 librarians. Well, one is a librarian, and one is going to be a librarian because she's in library school. But Laura Francine and Lisa Francine, excuse me, and Laura Judge lead it, and they're doing such a great job. They're super organized, and they are just really excited about that. So I encourage everyone to join. And then we also have in June 15th, we have also as part of our social justice book group is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. And that's a really good book too. And it deals with a young man and his sexuality and all of the things that come with it, being a young man of color. So just really exciting stuff. And we own all of those books already. So we're really excited about that. And finally, with the Social Justice Speaker Series, that's another part, that's a brand new piece for us here at the Chelmsford Public Library. We have about 4 programs, maybe 5, that I wanted to highlight here briefly. The first one is Monday, April 26th, and it's in partnership with 350 MA of Greater Lowell, a Better Future Project. And we'll be talking, and it's going to kind of link back to What the Eyes Don't See, that book. So we tried to partner the speaker series or link it with the book that we're reading. So registration's open for that. And then Tuesday, May 18th at 7, we'll be talking about with Sitting Pretty, The View from My Ordinary Resilient Disabled Body by Rebecca Tozic. She's super well known. She's her book is available on Amazon and all kinds of places. And that's also a social justice issue because, there's just what we call intersectionality, right? A person can be, say, of color and disabled or not of color, but disabled, and just all of the ramifications, all of the things that are just kind of bound up in that. So that's going to be a great talk. And then, and that links to that, that book, actually that's a book, May 18th. And then on May 26th, we'll have a speaker related to that book. And it's by a man named John Sharon. And his talk is called Who Gets to Tell Your Story? Disability and Identity in a Perfect World. So also really important. And then we have another speaker series event on June 24th, History Unerased, which we're really excited about. So that was a lot of information. So please be sure to look at the sheet with the links and just hop around and decide what you want to register for. But we're seeing a lot of success with our Zoom programs. And what we're trying to do is bring an element of diversity to everything, from all of our programming, all of our displays, and just as much as we can. So we want people to feel welcome coming into the Chelmsford Public Library. And as we do our outreach, we want to embrace people as well, not literally, but just have them feel welcome. So those are the kinds of things that we continue to work toward. And I see a hand up, or maybe two hands up. I can see that.
Yes, it's Latasha. Thank you
Hi.
so much, Maria, and welcome to Chelmsford. You've only been here a few months, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
One
I'm
day we'll
excited
have to
to be
talk
here.
about your exact location you moved from, because I'm from the South as well.
Oh, yeah.
But great list of programs that you have. My question to you is, all of these seem to be for adults. Do you have any programs for children?
Well, right. Some of the books that we are reading, some of them have children's versions. For example, the first book we did in February, as far as part of the social justice book discussion, it did have a teen version. The one book, one community, the one book, Chelmsford book, that one does have a children's version as well. And then in our programming for children, we are going super strong with our story times and everything. And so there's always an element of diversity and inclusion in that programming. It may not be like part of but that's definitely our goal, to partner with the children's department and with the teen services to bring all of that together, so that we're doing something across all age groups, and that all age groups are represented in our library. So thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have a question? I had a question for you all. So I know that Phil mentioned that you all were talking about having a film series, and so we would, if I wanted to know how those plans were going, and to let you know that we would very much like to partner with you on that if you're going forward with those plans.
Sure. Let me jump in at this point, Maria. Thanks for bringing that up. One of our working groups is the diversity training working group, and during one of our meetings, we did discuss the possibility of doing some sort of a film series. And we haven't had any detailed conversation at this point about that. So, I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little early when I mentioned it to you, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware that that's what we're looking at. One of the things that we're going to be doing is to kind of talk among ourselves about, maybe identifying 2 or 3 films that we like, or maybe more films that we think would be suitable. And then the goal is to share those with you, and then you can start to let us know which things work better, which things don't work. I know that when you're dealing with films, you have to have some awareness about any kind of copyright issues. If you want to replay the film, I would imagine too at the library, you folks would like to know if you have access to those films, or
Right.
if they're like streaming or any of those kinds of things that could help. So certainly when we get more concrete information, then I'll be able to come to you and kind of sit down with you and say, hey, these are the films that we're looking at, and then we can talk more, kind of intelligently around how we'd like to move forward. I think the important thing from our perspective is just really being pleased with your willingness to work with us, and to partner and to try to do great things. All the work that you guys are doing, is fantastic. So all of the info that you shared, I think really is important. And when you look at the different organizations within the town of Chelmsford, I think that, the library, from my perspective, is kind of head and shoulders above, any of the other groups in terms of going out, reaching out to, and actually, coming up with programs, doing things that actually reflect, the interest and the concern and the commitment of, promoting, diversity and inclusion. So from our perspective, it's fantastic, and we just want to make sure that we have an opportunity, to work with you going forward. So appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Phil.
I think there's Rachel. I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, this overview list that you provided us was like a really great view of all your diversity related programs coming up. Do you have a page like that on your website, or do you how do you get to that lens of information from a public perspective?
That is so funny that you brought that up, Rachel. Thank you, because we actually have a little project going on right this second. We want our own page of libraries working towards social justice. So that it will include everything we're doing and everything that the other libraries are doing. So that is actually happening right now. I am hoping that that site or that page on our site is ready before the April 12th book discussion for the social justice book series. Now, the social justice book series, they do have their own page on our site. They have their own section, and I believe I linked it. And I can resend it because I think I had to adjust the link a little bit. So hopefully it's on page 3. It's like the second bullet, or 1, 2, 3, the fourth bullet. It says Chelmsford Library Social Justice Book Discussion Series. So that's for the book discussions, but everything that I discussed, we're working toward having it all in one place, like right this second. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
But you can always give us a call or email or stop in, and we're happy to guide you to all of these resources. Yeah.
Maria, my question, this is Trisha Doris. My question is regards to who works with the Chelmsford Public Library website now that Brian has moved on. I do have the link up to promoting racial equity in your reading list on our page, but obviously looking at your program, I'm like, oh, we definitely need to make more room for your stuff on our page,
Sure.
subpage. But
Sure.
Is there somebody that I can work with regarding the website?
Yeah, I'm kind of it's another team effort. So if you want to just email me and I will link you up. We created what we called a web team because that's what Brian did. But so we're just kind of it's a divided sort of duty, or a shared duty, I guess I should say. So if you want to just email me, and we'll get everything. I'll put you in contact with the right people, and we'll get everything connected. Yeah.
That sounds great. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to mention too, as Maria had mentioned, I've got an email with all this info, and I can shoot it, to all of the folks in the committee at the end of the meeting, so you'll have all that info right at your hand. You won't have to go look for it. So I'll make sure that everybody gets that today. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Maria?
No, I just wish I had taken that Evelyn Wood speed reading class a long time ago. I wish I had more time to read.
I know it's hard. I have to I'm listening, walking around with something. So it's a lot. I know it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, Maria, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to chatting with you soon again.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep. Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, great. So moving on to our next agenda item, Transgender Day of Visibility, which is tomorrow. And I know folks wanted to just kind of check in. Clearly we've seen the information that's been, placed on our website. The interviews that Latasha did were fantastic. The write-up that we were able to get from Philly was great as well. I don't know if there are any other things that maybe I missed, but wanted to just make sure that if there are any other questions, and I have Trisha's got a hand up, so Trish.
Yes, I just wanted to let everybody know that I took the liberty of adding a 12th bullet after speaking with one of our transgender town employees. And I just said, you know, what more can we do to make you feel more comfortable? And I had seen a lot of the students that use their pronouns at the end of their emails. And he said that would be a great thing if you could encourage people to do that, because it just makes everybody feel more seen and more acknowledged. So I did put that down as bullet number 12, to please consider adding your pronouns to your email and social media profiles. And also I did put this person in touch with Dr. Whittlesley that Latasha had interviewed, so that they can connect and do some outreach to students. So it was a really good connection to make. And I wanted to make sure that this person also knew what we were doing. And so we pushed it out today through social media. So look for it. And if you could all share it, however, via email to your friends or on your own social media pages. But I put it on Chelmsford News, Town Talk, Black Lives Matter, Chelmsford Social Justice, all of the regular Facebook pages. And it's just, I think that those 12 things just really help us to be better allies. And that's what we want people to understand, and that we're here, and we want them to feel comfortable, and we want everybody to be, to just have a better understanding. And so I had a nice chat. I had a nice chat today, and I learned a lot from the interviews that you did, Latasha. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think the educational piece is really key. You know, because lots of people we don't know everything. We don't know everything about everybody. And especially if in our own lives we don't interact with any regardless of what the difference is. You don't interact with people. You don't know what's appropriate. You may not know what to say or what not to say. So any opportunity we have, as a committee to kind of raise the level of awareness and to help to educate people, is an opportunity we should take advantage of. So from my perspective, it's great. All good stuff.
Yeah, and people don't always like to read or have time to read, like I said before. So the videos are great. I mean, it's just that they might click on something like that, even if it's just one of them. And I really think if we can keep that going between you, Latasha, and Charisse, and getting Chelmsford Telemedia, I just think it's a really great attention getter, and people appreciate it. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Trish. I learned a lot too through both interviews. So it was a learning experience for me as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So feel free. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and they are on my signature.
Fantastic. Any other questions or comments? Great. Well, we will move on. I know that a couple of weeks ago, I know Latasha, had mentioned that it might be a good idea for us to revisit, our goals, kind of, where we are. Some time has passed since we, tried to nail some of these down, and some work has been done on some of the goals. But I think I couldn't agree more with Latasha. I think we need to kind of go back to these, see where they are, see if they still resonate. See, given things that we've learned so far, there might not be the same level of kind of commitment to doing something now with one issue or another. But be that as it may, I think it makes sense for us as a group to kind of talk through the stuff and kind of see where we are, and make some decisions around how to add more specificity if that's what's needed, or make some changes and so forth. So that was my thinking. Charisse, you had your hand up?
Yes, I don't have the agenda in front of me, and I just wanted to see, is the Autism of April Awareness Month on that at all? I don't know if it is or not.
No, it's not on the agenda.
No, but what we did was we put reports from working groups on there. So even if the working groups didn't meet, it's still a topic to discuss. So diversity training will be discussed, culture, communication, education. So that's why we kind of said, well, just even if we don't have a report, we can still talk about what we need to work on under those.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't have the list agenda in front of me.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
And I was going to just ask Tricia if it made sense for us to make the report out from the working groups a standing item for
I think it is.
until we get some of these things closed or changed. So.
Yeah, and I know what I'm struggling with, and I think it's been mentioned before, that Sharice has brought it up, that this culture and communication group really is the same. It's like we're working on the same things, and I think we need to kind of be more of one, like make that one group. Don't you think? I mean, because I find I don't have time to meet with the communication group and then set up a culture group and do, and I just find that what we're doing is overlapping anyways, and we end up having to talk to each other anyways. So, and I also get confused as to who's on what group, because we don't have clear, like, okay, here's our diversity group, but then here's our email list of just who we're supposed to be working with on what goal.
Right.
And I think that's, even though it's written on paper, we don't always refer to that spreadsheet so well. So I would like to propose that the communication and the culture group become one group. I don't know what we call it. Maybe we just call it public relations, and I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to overshadow the people's hands that are up. I have a question about that.
Okay, I'm gonna be.
I'll wait till I did.
Go ahead, Sharice. I think we might be saying the same thing. So
I was just concerned about the number of people that are on both committees, on working groups. We can only have 6 people on a call. Is that not correct? Or 7 at the most, 6?
It has to be less than 6. It has to be 5, because there's really only 12. Technically, our original team was 13. Now our original team realistically is 12, but yet how many active members do we have? So I mean, it's tough to be able to meet offline in larger groups. I mean, I recommend, no more than 5. But yet a lot of us are on the same, well, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'll be happy to just be the website person and back out of everything else, because basically you just filter me the information and I throw it up there. So I don't need to be on these working groups. I could be just a listening participant, rather than a voting member, or not that we vote anyways, it's just a discussion. But I just think we need to really look at who's actively participating in which category and how we can make it more manageable. I was hoping that it would be more manageable just by the fact that we're only meeting every other week, but again, everybody's busy. Brian has his hand up too, and so does Susan.
Susan, you had your hand up for a while.
All right, my question kind of takes us on a different path. So if we want to continue to talk about these 2 groups and then get back to me, that's okay. My question's pretty quick. It was really just about the goals and the worksheet itself, since we're not able to get that Smartsheets to work. I had actually done some work a long, long time ago on the education goals and filling in the pieces in the grid, but I have no idea how to share those kinds of things. So that's separate from talking about what the goals are, more talking about how we share progress toward the goals. So I just want to include that as part of the discussion, but it doesn't have to be right this second.
So I wanted to make a suggestion, or just bring up something, is that it doesn't seem like the current way that we have of doing offline communication is working for really anybody. It just doesn't seem to be doing what it needs to do. So I was wondering if we maybe want to try to get either like a Slack, or I mean, I personally, I'm on Discord, which is, associated with gamers usually, but it's basically just a freely available chat program. Like Discord is basically gamer Slack, but the amount of different things you can do with it, it's a free account. You just get on there and you can make servers and you can have everybody do offline chatting, and you
Yeah,
can
but you
have
can't
separate
do that
channels.
with the open meeting law, Brian. You can't do that. We're bound by open meeting law, and that's why we can't do that. That's where you're trying to break things up into the smaller groups so we can get more done. And I mean, there's been a lot done, with the education committee, and again, culture and communication has just been, I'm not good about setting up separate meetings. I mean, I'm fine if somebody says, hey, can you meet? And I'll be like, sure, I can be there. But my off time is off time, and I'm just not, my head's not there. But when you think about what we have accomplished, I don't think we could have accomplished what we have without these subgroups meeting, aside from our regular weekly or bi-weekly, bi-monthly meetings. So it's just the organization of it. And I don't think another program or software is going to help that. I think it's just, we need to come up with some more consistencies, maybe, of who's in charge of what, and then who's going to call the meetings, who's going to participate in what piece of it, or the leaders of each of those groups then comes to a meeting every other week and says, okay, here's what we need to accomplish in the next month. I need volunteers to do this, 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 and this. And, rather than, I mean, that could be another way of doing it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. The other piece that I'm struggling with too is that as I go through and I look at some of these goals, the initial goals, I see some things that don't necessarily feel like they're critical kinds of things at this point that we can get a lot of traction on. And
can you be specific, Phil?
Well, I guess, for example, I know that there's been some activity. We've been working on the Indigenous Peoples Day, but there's a lot of things involved in that. We're not going to be able to drive that to completion. We can support that, but I think clearly it's been kind of demonstrated that there's a lot of moving parts to that one. And so,
but we're making progress on it.
Absolutely. But I guess what I'm trying to understand is, what kind of a goal is. I'm trying to get clarity on what type of a goal is it, and is it something that we can kind of look to say we will have something completed by X time frame. It feels amorphous. Some of them still feel like they're kind of floating around to me, and they've been floating around for months. And so I guess my issue is it's okay as long as we all agree that no, we don't have anything really concrete on that when we're waiting for something to come together, versus let's identify specific things that we're going to be doing to help the influencers do a better job of communicating what our committee does across the board. Because I saw that as one of the goals. There's some of the things that to me still feel squishy, and if I had to sit down and explain exactly what that means and what a completed goal looks like, I'm not sure I could do that with all the ones that are listed here.
And I know other people have their hands up, but I just have to say this right now before I forget. What we're doing isn't going to be done. I mean, is that not a factual statement? I mean, this is an evolutionary thing we're doing.
No, well, and not to take up a lot of time kind of going back and forth with that, I'm not quite sure that's true. If we said, we're going to work on a speaker series with the library, let's get together and identify what speaker series we want, get with the library, figure out what those are, get our time frame, and then make that happen. So that's the kind of goal that I had in mind. Now, maybe that's my narrow thinking, and I freely admit that I can be kind of narrow when it comes to stuff like that. But I'm looking at ways for us as we explain to the board or constituents, the residents, this is what we've done. This is the activity we've made, and these are the results. So, when it gets to things like, the proclamation, we put this thing together, we worked it, we revamped it, we worked with the board, and we got it done, we got it signed, bang, goal completed. that's what I'd like to see more of. And sometimes it feels like we don't have a lot of that. So that's my point. So
Yeah, I think with something like the Indigenous People Day project, and when we started digging into that, we were talking about like all the layers of work to get to that point, right? Like we need to understand our history as a town. We need to, which is like historical huge project, but how do we support that? How do we put that together? How can we work towards that statement we say at ceremonies that honors the land? How can we do this, this, and this? And it's like, and all of that leads to the bigger thing of like celebrating and honoring the Indigenous people of this area. I wonder if some of the, like, this seems like the type of goal that needs like a project plan behind it, and that has sub goals, and then we focus like on a smaller goal, which is maybe, you know, I say just like it's small, but like understanding our history. And then that becomes like our like quarter or many quarter goal that's working towards that long-term goal.
Yeah, and in the
But
meantime,
someone,
right now,
again, like on Trisha's point, needs to own that, needs to write that plan, needs to share it, and then needs to
well, and we
maintain
all need to
documentation around that.
commit to learning about it. And that's the hard part. There's a lot of information that's being brought to us, and a lot of resources that have been brought to us, which is great. And the connections that have been made. And again, without Carly here, I don't think it's really fair to dive into this particular subject that deeply, because she's spearheading this. She wants to own this one. And the connections that she's made, that have been providing a lot of really good information. I mean, just that Ames Sweetnam resource alone, that is on our webpage now, just diving into that, it's a lot of education. And that was one of the biggest points that was made, is we need to educate ourselves first, then we need to little by little educate the public, and then bring it to a place where we can make change. But we've made steps. So I don't know if it's not even soon enough to say, yeah, we're working on this. We can just say we're collecting information and we're putting it on the website. I mean, because it is an underserved community, and it's I'm just putting the resources out there, so that we can educate ourselves. But
I want to address what Phil got to about very specific goals and whether or not we can accomplish them. I mean, Indigenous Peoples Day is something we can't accomplish on our own, but I look at every single education goal. Unless we want to throw them all out, we have to acknowledge that we can't do anything. The school committee can do it, and the school administration staff can do it. We can't do a thing but have conversations with them and kind of help them think toward that direction. So if that's not specific enough a goal, then the education working group can't have any goals, because we are not allowed to make change in what happens in the schools.
Being a liaison to the school department is important, and that is a goal. I mean, that you continuously make your presence known, ask what we can do as a committee. You're there, you're having the conversations on a regular basis, and I think that that's important. But to your point, you're absolutely right. None of it is achievable by us.
Right. The actual goal of changing the curriculum, we can't change the curriculum. We're not allowed to. So that goal, in the way it was written, I guess, wasn't really realistic. It's a goal that we want the school system to have, but it can't be this committee's goal, not the actual changing part.
But
the
establishing
liaison part, I
maintaining
think,
those relationships towards that goal, and maybe we fine tune what's on our spreadsheet a little bit more, how often you meet, with who you meet, what other groups at the school that you can meet with, what are the students doing, how can we connect with the students, all of that stuff that you've been doing, and we've been getting information, from the CARES group and all kinds of stuff that's making progress. It's just
I agree, and I think it's valuable, but we just have to look at it in terms of the big goal that we set back when we did the initial survey is not something we can actually accomplish and measure whether or not our success by whether or not it happens, because we have no power to really make it happen. But I think the connections, I mean, Lauren and I continue to talk about it all the time. We can get into that. We do the working group. But as a goal per se, it's not really measurable and achievable by this group to make some of those changes. So that's where we have different kinds of goals depending on what it is we're talking about. Right?
So does
Yeah.
the education group just reword the goals in the direction that's more manageable and more consistent and more, as a member of this committee, here's what we can commit to when it comes to
Well, right.
education? I mean, just
For
reword
instance,
them.
one of the goals was create more diverse representation in schools. So I think instead our goal is really to advocate for more diverse representation in schools. Because what else can we do other than continue to have the discussion about what are they doing, what's your progress, what's happening, how can we help?
And would it
We
make
can't
sense?
actually create it.
I just changed it. I think that's a great suggestion.
And would it make sense then to also identify what advocating, for that means? What does that look like? How do we know that we're doing what we say we're doing?
Right. That's why it's like we never filled in the actions required box.
Right. Well,
Never
so
filled
that's
in
what
the
I said I
support
did
required.
personally, and I know I've emailed Margaret and Lauren. I just don't know how to share that because I am not very proficient in
Right.
spreadsheet work.
I mean, it could be simply as having a meeting once a month with a member of the school department or school board, I mean, so maybe Susan and I can get together and find a document that we can share with the actionable goals.
Yeah, I've actually made a lot of notes just so I can show you, Lauren. I've got a bunch
Right.
of stuff we can
Oh, no,
talk.
I know that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. So,
And I also, well, this working group, this is kind of getting muddy here, working group and goals.
I haven't seen Margaret. Susan, you and I haven't really touched base with Margaret in a very long time. Was she here last week?
No, she
hasn't
hasn't
in
been
a while.
here in
We
many
need to touch
weeks.
base with her and just see how
Okay,
she's
yeah,
doing.
because I know that Susan and I have chatted a couple times and we just haven't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've included her on the emails, Lauren, but she
Right.
hasn't
No, she
responded.
hasn't responded. Yeah. Okay.
Brian, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so regarding the whole holiday thing, there are two things that I want to bring up. Number one, as far as having something measurable that we can shoot towards, I think we need to answer the question right now is, do we want October 11th, 2021 to be Indigenous Peoples Day in Chelmsford? And can we see if we can get that to happen this year? Is that an achievable goal, or do we think we need another year to go around the horn on it?
I think we need another year.
Lowell just did it, but Lowell just did it.
Lowell
can
just did it?
Yeah, can we write in the back of Lowell?
Okay, I don't know. I don't know enough about it myself. I don't know. Brian, what do you think? I mean,
Am I making that up? Like, was it a dream? But I swear I heard that Lowell went ahead and did it.
I don't know.
I'm not making it up.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
I know Somerville did it. That's all I know is Somerville did it.
Well,
I don't
of course,
know
because
about
I'm from Somerville. That's why great
I'll
city.
do some research right now while you guys talk.
Thank you, because I swear Lowell changed it. I swear, but I'm going to check it out.
Okay, if they have, then maybe that's something we can go back to Montaween with and said, hey, our neighbor town, our neighbor city just pulled this off. So, let's see if we can accelerate that and see if we can get that to happen this year.
Lowell School Committee votes to observe Indigenous Peoples Day, March 17th, 2021. So it was the Lowell School Department. School Committee.
Right.
So
not quite the town, but
Yeah.
at least we could sort of maybe use that as a springboard.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing that we need to do is we need to bring this both to the select board and to town meeting. And if we can get both of those bodies to accept a resolution proclamation, regardless of what it is on which thing, I think that is something that if we think we can hit that this year, we should shoot for it.
And to the school committee. Let's go to the school committee body as well.
Sure.
Now, you said, what's the date? October what? 2021?
October 11th is Indigenous Peoples Day this year
Yeah,
in the United States.
Unfortunately, if we were going to do that via town meeting, because town meeting's not until October 18th. And the deadline for citizen petition warrant article is the first Monday in August. So if we were going to do that for this year, and it would, I think, I don't know if it would require a town meeting to vote, to be honest. It could just be the select board.
Are there no more town meetings? Because I just got an email.
No, there
from-
are, yeah, there are, but in order to get a warrant article on a town meeting, there's a deadline. And for spring town meeting, the deadline was the first Monday in January.
Okay.
Fall town meeting, the deadline's the first Monday in August. So we're beyond, even though we moved town meeting out to June because of COVID,
Right.
it's still, the warrant's already posted. So,
Okay.
So
All right.
that's why I think it might be.
So, well, at the very least, we can try to go to the select board and we can try to go to the school committee. So that's 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So I think we should shoot to see how we can do with that. The second thing that I wanted to bring up is I completely am shocked that we all have blanked on this, but what are we doing for Juneteenth this year? I
Yeah,
think this is something we need to start thinking about now.
right. Haven't blanked on it, but June, again, not a lot of stuff is happening. We're not having our 4th of July parade this year. So it's just the whole group gathering thing. So I think that we have to wait and see what the makeup of the board is going to be after April 6th. I mean, I will say it publicly. I want a change to the bylaw for flags. I think that if nothing else, we should be able to say, we're celebrating this and we want to show this. So how do we show that as a community? So that's my personal feeling, is that, you know, we're being constrained, especially when we can't have public events where we're getting together. You know, at least we can put a flag out and say, hey, we're celebrating Juneteenth, so let's throw up the appropriate flag for that. Or we're celebrating, you know, whatever it is, Gay Pride Month. I mean, we're very constricted with what we can plan as far as a public event in June, but that doesn't mean we can't do something. And we will. We just have to have some good ideas.
And
So,
and another question I would ask is, you know, we can't necessarily do anything publicly, but do we know groups who would be willing to organize something like, you know, maybe Arun would be wanting to do another, maybe CARES would be interested in sponsoring some sort of event like they did, because they did both the Juneteenth vigil and the March to McCarthy later on in the summer. So, you know, maybe they would want to do that and we could just sort of not necessarily sponsor them, but say, hey, we'll be willing to give you our okay and say the Chelmsford Diversity Committee at least says, hey, this is a great idea and we'll be there. You know, at least just be visible as some sort of representation of the town. Yes, we might not be able to 100% put the full weight of the town behind it, considering we are still in the pandemic, but you know, we could at least do something to make the holiday visible in this town and, you know, get our presence known as supportive of it. And I'll be quiet now because I've done a lot of talking.
I think that's a great idea, Brian. I'm all on board of that, and they are opening up slightly. I know that the PAC now is allowing 100 people at a time, spaced in another couple of weeks. I've sort of gotten that message through the school system. No more than 100 people. It is a 995 seat auditorium, but no more than 100 people. But that is, you know, it is opening up. The other thing is, I don't know if it's on the agenda, but I felt really badly that we missed the Asian, sort of the Asian hate crimes sort of thing.
put out a statement at our last meeting.
Oh, I missed the last meeting.
Yeah, so we put out a statement and it's on our website, Lauren.
All right, good. Okay, I was just hoping for a vigil or something, that, you know, but I'm hoping my Civic Action Club will maybe do something, but I agree with Brian. I
And
think
May,
we really should.
and May is Asian American Pacific Islanders month. May.
Is it?
1st through the 20th. Yes. So that's an
All right.
opportunity as well to start thinking about. Well, and that's what we talked about in the communication working group, as you know, just kind of getting ahead of this and trying to, like, when we do get together, look at everything's on the event. Honest to Pete, it seems like some of this stuff just pops up and it's like, what? I didn't see that when we came together. So I think that's one of the things too that Tricia is talking about, because some of these things do overlap with some of the other working groups. So we'll just have to work, you know, figure that out. But I don't think we're going to figure it out tonight.
No, and also the fact that it's our first year And what we're doing, we're going to have to get to a point where we're planning 6 months out at least, or even, we're planning now, but we know what we want to do for this next year. So 6 months from now, we're going to say, okay, next year, this is what we're going to do. So we're just, again, right now we're chasing our tails a little bit, but
we have Women's History planned for next year already.
Yes, we do. Not totally, but we got the
Well, we know what
ideas.
we're going to do.
Yeah. So anyway, as far as
Latasha?
I saw Susan's hand raised. Did you want to say something, Susan?
No, I just forgot to put it down and I just did.
My comment is more along the lines of when you feel passionate about a particular event, I would suggest taking ownership of it and saying, I want to organize that. That's the best way, because if we wait and wait and wait, that day will approach and we won't have an event for it. For example, the Transgender Day of Visibility, just reading an article, it sparked something inside of me and I decided to pursue it. So that's what I would recommend to everyone on the team.
Thanks. Makes sense.
So
Any other-
Tasha, I just want to piggyback on that when we're talking about working groups. Is like an interesting point, like where maybe we should be like an item to consider. Do we keep the working group the same for all of it, or do we say like we have this coming up, we want to do some planning for this month, who is particularly interested, who wants to jump on it, and then we cycle in and out with different things when people get that spark.
I really think we have to cycle in and out because your interests change, your timing change, life changes. So I think it's a really effective way of just keeping the ball rolling is to just say, okay, I'm on this particular project for this period of time.
So what we would need to do, like if I'm hearing everybody correctly, is look at these things that we've identified as goals, whatever they happen to be, and I think get agreement that there are still the things that we want to pursue, and then kind of staff them, work on them based on individuals' interest in those individuals in those goals, as opposed to saying, here's a specific working group for culture, and you kind of making them responsible for if it fits in that cultural bucket, then they get it. Because is that I hear I see heads nod. I just want to make sure I get it.
Yeah, when we originally designed these working groups, it was based on our interest. It was based on our experience, like education. We said, oh, who's in that? So it was kind of designed like that. But I think to Brian and Latasha's point, we found in doing it that way, it might not be the most efficient way. It might be based, we have to, do it the way in which she was saying, just saying, okay, we know like Gay Pride Month is coming in June, like who has an interest in that? And we need to start working on that like right away, like now, and start gathering the groups of people who want to do that. And just falling back in line. I don't want to be redundant of already what we said, but I agree with what was said about just kind of reorganizing. But I just wanted to make the point, we did initially set out those working groups to be based on our points of interest.
Yeah, but I think what we're realizing now is that it makes more sense to have a Gay Pride Month working group and a Juneteenth working group and a Indigenous Peoples Day working group, and then the school advocacy working group. I think having targeted goal-based working groups is going to have us be better about getting those measurable, actionable, measurable things that Phil, you were talking about earlier. So I think this is going to be a really good way of, like we tried doing it the original way, and what doesn't work, you realize it doesn't work, and then you find a way to do it better. So I think this was a good evolutionary step for us, and I think it's going to help us to be more efficient and do more things going forward.
Agreed.
So
I agree. So it's
I can just say that the communication committee, you've rocking it. Everything's green. You've been doing it. Thanks.
But, yeah, no, credits to Latasha. That was a fabulous idea. Thank you.
Yeah, and Charisse has been very instrumental in making those connections and bringing those speakers and those performers and organizing the meetings and making sure we attend and, you know, taking leadership with that has been really important because, you know, when you say I got to be
and
some
I had a
practice there.
passion around the Black History Month, and so
Yeah.
that's why it worked, right? Just like
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and everybody else who participated. So the other thing, if I could, where are we on the agenda?
Well, it's 8 o'clock now.
So the only thing I mean, it depends on what you want to talk about.
Okay, I just want to talk real quickly because we won't have a meeting before April. So April 2nd, well, the month of April is Autism Month, and April 2nd is Autism Day, and they light everything up blue. And I thought as a committee, I don't know how we can do it on our website, you know, and Beth, is it Baloney? How do you pronounce
Bellany.
And I thank Lauren for putting me in touch with her because initially we talked about interviewing her, like maybe to the Chelmsford telemedia station. However, that's not going to work for several reasons because she has a foot, she broke her, I mean, she has foot surgery, so she can't drive. And so I could do something very similar to what Latasha did and interview her through Zoom and place something on the website. But in the meantime, she's going to put together some information on autism to have it available so we can put it on and have it available for for April 2nd, Autism Day. And I would suggest if we can, if it's feasible and makes sense, we all wear some shade of blue. So we can, as a committee, we can represent Autism Day. And it's light blue. And just quickly, blue is the organization's primary color, and it's associated with a calm feeling and acceptance in an otherwise loud and busy world of people on the spectrum. So that's why they chose that color. And there you'll see buildings lit up as blue. And so I may even ask Susan Gates if at the CCA she can light the building blue, just to draw attention to it and see if that's something she can do for visibility in the community. So
I think that's a great idea.
So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And I really want to thank Lauren for that connection. She's a lovely woman. I have her bio. So we are thinking about meeting on via Zoom, doing an interview maybe on Saturday. We're trying to coordinate our time because I'll be on vacation next week. But in the meantime, she will present some type of information that we can post for Autism Day. And can we light the website is not something that you can literally light up blue.
I'm going to try to do a background. I mean, the calendar items I'm really limited in the calendar items of what kind of formatting I can do. But if I can do a page, I could probably do a blue background or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to make a couple of texts too about how quick can we get blue light bulbs into I don't know.
I have a blue light bulb for the light above my garage, so I know they sell them just at Lowe's and places.
Yeah. Some of the lighting.
See, back in the day, blue was very romantic back in the 70s, 80s. You had that blue light bulb in the basement. Hello.
Well, and I'm staring at the floodlight across the town hall going, maybe they can just put a little blue filter on that. That'd be nice. It's like staring me in the face right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But that's a great idea for next year. Prepare for next year to make sure that in March, mid-March, we're going, okay, April 2nd, let's get the blue light bulbs out, But so this kind of thing is so we're chasing our tails, but I think that's a great idea. Light it up.
But I think for what we've done, honestly, for this first run, it's been amazing. It's been a wonderful journey, and everybody's has done their part and has stepped up. And I've learned so much from the onset of this formulation of this committee. It's been beautiful working with everyone. I just brag about you guys so much. You just don't know. And I can't wait to when we get behind this Zoom and we can go out in public. I think we're going to have a really great time.
I met Brian face to face for the first time today. I was like, oh my gosh, Brian and Jen, there you were. It was like
Yeah.
so weird. I'm like, you're
Oh.
D. It was
Yeah.
great.
I know, I got to see Sharice over the weekend.
I
and
know.
I know, Sharice, I didn't even get to see you really. You were just like popping in saying hi. I'm in the middle of election mode, so I was crazy as
Right.
usual.
It was
but
good to see you though.
It was nice
But
to see you guys.
yeah. And maybe we can wear ribbons, wear something blue ribbons if you have them. Just wear blue on April 2nd, and it's a light blue.
There's
I can
no,
go to Lowe's and buy a lot of light bulbs, and if you want to stop at my house and pick one up, I can have a bunch.
Yeah.
there's no school on Friday, or I would tell the school system, but there is no school Friday. It's a holiday.
That's true. It's Good Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, town offices is a half the day, and it's my last day of early voting. So I'm like, oh well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna toss out an email and see if I get anything to be done. But I love that idea. We'll do what we can. I'll play with the website and see if I can at least make our page blue that day.
Okay. Sounds good. Just wanted to give you that update because I know next time we meet, we'll be on to something else.
And
May. What is May? April, May. May is.
Yeah.
You said it was Asian
Asian
American
Heritage
Pacific and
Month.
Islander Month.
Asian
Thank
American.
you. Yes, May 1st through the 31st. I'll put my, if anyone's interested in that, let's chat.
okay, there's something else in May though. Hold on a second. I just want to see.
Yeah, but something else because we talked
Yeah,
about
I've got it on our calendar. Hold on a minute. I just want to scroll through the months here. I never did get to update this altogether. It's Ramadan, ALS Awareness Month.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
and it's May 21st is World Day for Cultural Diversity.
Oh.
So yeah. So, I have links to our calendar on those things, and they do push out a notification on that day, but the calendar items just aren't exciting. But there is a link to the ALS organization, that'll go out on May 1st and it'll last all month. And so we have something. It's not like we're like not doing it, but ALS month is kind of something
But
else.
I think in light of what's happening with the Asian
Me too.
we have to focus there.
I don't even have that on the calendar, so do you remember, do you know exactly what it's called?
Yeah, it's called Asian American Pacific Islander Day.
Okay. Okay.
Is it just, well, see, my daughter's Asian American, so it's obviously close to my heart, in case anybody didn't know.
Yeah,
I've seen her on Facebook.
Is it a day, Sharice, or a month?
it's a month.
It's a
Yeah.
month.
A month.
May
Yeah.
1st to the 31st.
Good.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of time. So Sharice, if you want to get together to powwow, I'm more than happy to.
Okay, sounds good.
So
All right.
Tricia,
Yes.
according to the website, is the Asian/Pacific American Heritage Month.
Asian / Pacific American.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Heritage Month.
Oh, heritage. Okay.
That's great.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. And do you have a link to the actual, I mean, I was just gonna look it up anyways, but
Yep, I can send it to you.
yeah, you can just send it to me and then I'll create at least the calendar item, and then you guys can talk about whatever you want to build it up to be, and just give me the info. I mean, like I said, I'm a little tied up between now and Tuesday, but I can make myself available after that. But I will get this calendar item up there right away.
That's great.
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah, I just had one quick question regarding the training that we're all supposed to do. So remind me how we're going to do the whole invoicing thing, reimbursement, so forth, et cetera, that
I don't
process.
think you got that nailed down yet. That was one of the things I was going to try to cover.
You just sign up, you pay for it, and then you send me the invoice, and I'll submit it through our diversity account and get you
Okay.
reimbursed.
Okay,
Okay.
we sign up on our own. We pay for it.
Yeah, you set it up, you pay for it, and send me an invoice.
Send you an invoice. Okay, no, that's simple. And I would encourage folks to do that sooner as opposed to later. Ideally, if we could get that done within and Rachel, you've done it a couple of times, so you know how much time it might take. If we could get that done within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Is that realistic? Because I think the idea was that we wanted to come back and kind of talk through the group with, you know, our impressions about some of it before we go to the select board and recommend the training to them. So I wanted to see if 3 or 4 weeks makes sense. Then maybe, you know, we can look to say, can we all get in there and try to get it done by April the 30th? So, you know, with today being March the 30th, April the 30th, get it done. Does that make sense, Rachel? Is that doable or?
Yeah, it's going to take a few chunks of time. So I just want to be honest. We might want to start and then take a pulse of how much people were able to get through like in a sitting, and then kind of like timeline out it from there.
Do you have
With
an
the number
idea
of modules, I did it like we met like bi-monthly and did it. So it took a lot longer, and it was totally manageable at that level, and actually like a lot lighter than what we need.
How many hours?
I can't remember
Yeah.
how many. Yeah, I can't remember what the hours were.
All right.
Yeah.
But if we
Pretty
take
much.
too long, we won't be able to recommend it to the select board for a long time. You know, we don't want to take too long on our own before we are ready to recommend it, right?
Well, no, I mean, that's why he's saying, you know, try to get it done by April 30th. We'll
Oh,
try.
I'm fine with
but
that. I just thought Rachel thought it might take longer.
It might. We don't know until we get started. We'll try.
All
We'll
right.
try again. I can commit some Saturdays, just sitting there and do my training. I logged in, I paid for it. I just haven't
Right.
done anything with it yet, but I'll wait till after the election's over. Then I'll.
I mean, do we have a ballpark, just out of curiosity? 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours?
You know, I know that's a good question. I was in there today looking at it just to try to get a feel for that. I think it's 6 or 8 modules, but I couldn't get a feel for the amount of time, Brian, like you're talking about. How, you know, how much time realistically would it take a person to complete all of those modules? So I think that's a good question. And Rachel, I think your idea, you know, or your suggestion makes sense. We give it a shot. You know, next time we come together, talk through it and see how long it takes.
You actually need to finish it within 30 days because the course
Right,
is only
right,
valid for
exactly.
30 days, and then you have to pay again. So
Oh, geez, I better get on it. I already.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
So it
that's
should
a
be
good point.
reasonable to finish within 30 days. Get it done.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's a good point. That's great.
Right there.
Thanks for bringing that up. Thanks for doing that. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll jump on that. It's about 8:14 from.
Excuse me, before we move to moving, I do have a question. I'm sorry I'm late. Tuesdays are getting to be more and more difficult for me. Tricia, where did you say that you had posted the things that Maria had talked about before I logged on?
I'll send it to you.
Teams I did. But we're gonna email, I mean, Phil,
I'm going to send it to you after this meeting.
Phil's gonna
Send
email
the-
it to
I'll send
everybody.
it out to everybody, and you'll have it.
All right, because I'll have to catch up with the beginning of the meeting, the minutes stuff I missed. I know I missed a tiny
I
little
wrote
bit.
down attendees and things like that, because I don't think that shows up on the video. So I thought, just like, oh, no big deal. She can take notes from the video. So
Yeah, but sometimes it takes a while for the video to actually be posted to, I
Yeah.
can't see it on Teams. I can only see it on Chelmsford Telemedia, the videos. I can't open it from Teams. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
sorry,
yeah,
I was
it's
late,
gonna
but
take a little while because I don't give it to Pete right away. It
yeah,
takes-
that's fine. Okay. I'll work on it. Okay, sorry, Phil. I'm all set.
Sorry, I just wanted to add one other. I just looked it up. It's 8 modules, so I would assume this is under 8 hours. I think you could probably do each module an hour from my memory.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
8 modules.
Yeah, well, yeah, at that, it should be easy for us to get that done in 30 days.
All right. So our next meeting is April 13th, and
Correct.
that is going to be with Vanna Howard, the state rep. Vanna Howard's going to come. And I can't remember if it's the state diversity committee she's on. I
Yes,
think it is. So,
the state, yep.
yeah. Okay. And then we don't meet again until April 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Right. That's right.
Now, I was supposed to be on vacation that week, but discovered that my passport was not renewed, so I can't go on vacation. So I guess I'll be here. I was gonna say, oh, I won't be here on the 27th, but
I'll miss the one after that. It's a long way out, but someone else will need to take minutes for me, the first May meeting. Just, I'll remind you.
And other than Dana Howard, do we have any outstanding, any major issues for the meeting on the 13th of April? Okay. All right. Well, certainly, yeah, you know, if we do, please let me know. I'll try to get the agenda out. Any other questions, comments, snide remarks?
Okay, I do remember Carly saying in her email that she'll do the SMART tool at the next meeting, which will
Correct.
be April
Yep.
13th. So you should go ahead and add that to the agenda.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any other items?
Sharice, will you have time to get together between now and next week? And then we could put the Asian American month of May on the agenda, just so we'll have it there? Or is that ongoing and cultural working group thing?
I think we're gonna put on the reports from working groups as a regular standard
Yeah,
item.
yeah,
so
okay, good, okay.
That just makes it easier that way.
Thanks.
All right.
Your
Right.
microphone's off, Sharice.
Getting late.
I'll touch base with you offline.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If there are no other items, I would like to move that the March 30th meeting of the Diversity, Racial Equity, and Inclusion Committee be brought to a close.
So moved. And you need a second.
Can I get a
I
second?
second that motion.
All right.
Excellent. Have a wonderful night, everybody.